Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are on page 65 of your student journal, and our objective for the day is, today I will compare decimals by using the less than, greater than, and equal to symbols. Okay, so today I will compare decimals by using the less than, greater than, and equal to symbols. Okay, so let's look at a couple things before we get started. Okay, we first see our place value chart. Now, the place value chart is really helpful in this, but I want to warn you, we're not going to really rely too much on the place value chart because they give it to you in some problems, but if you get too used to using this when you take the assessment, they're not going to give it to you. So if you need to use it, you can look at it, but you're going to notice when we do our examples, we're not going to use it. Okay. Then we see a decimal point. It says the symbol, which looks kind of like a period, is used to separate a whole number from fractional parts. So on the left, these are our wholes, and on the right, these are what we call our decimals or our parts of a whole, our fractional parts. Okay, compare says to closely look at two or more things in order to see what is similar or different. Okay, when it says to look closely, I'm going to warn you, we're not just using our eyes. I have taught 5th grade for 20 years, and every time people do this lesson and just rely on their eyes, they always make mistakes. And almost every time I give an assessment for this, the students who miss problems, they don't have their work to show. So they will always purposely on test choose numbers that will confuse your eyes or look closely like each other, so when you look at it just based on your eyes, you're going to get the wrong answer. So we're not going to closely look, we're actually going to do work with it. Okay, and then here's our comparison symbols. Equals means equal to. This one means less than, and I still remember that this sign kind of looks like the L, it's just like a little slanted. So it looks like the L, which is less than, which means the other one is the greater than. I also still remember from when I was a child that I always grabbed the bigger one. So the alligator always eats the larger one. Okay, so let's look at our steps today, and we have say the number. Then it says write the number in the place value chart. Make sure to line up the decimal points. We are not writing it in the place value chart. We are not going to use the place value chart because, like I said, on the test, they won't give you the place value chart. So we're going to make sure to line up the decimal points, though. That's a really important step. Okay, we don't need to do step 3 because we're doing this, so we're going to make sure to line up the decimal points. And then here, from left to right, that's important, compare digits. So from left to right, we're going to compare digits. Okay, what they didn't include here, that's a really good step, is after we line up the decimal points, we're going to squish in here for this step. We're going to say add zeros to make a box. Okay, so ready? So we're going to say the number, which we can or can't do. So I'm going to cross that off. So we're going to make sure to line up the decimal points, add zeros to make a box, and then from left to right compare the digits. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, and I want you to make sure you follow along with my steps, okay? All right, so here's my first one, and you'll notice I didn't even put the place value chart on it because I'm not going to use it. So if my first step says make sure to line up the decimal points. Ready? So I'm going to write my numbers, and I'm going to line up my decimal point. And I want you to notice not only is my decimal point lined up, but notice how my other columns are nicely lined up. Okay, so that's what step 1 means, to make sure you line up the decimal point. Our next step says add zeros to make a box. So I want you, we're not going to draw the box, we're going to create this like pretend box in our mind. So it would kind of go like this. So we want it to be perfect. So this one, I'm gonna add a 0 because there's this empty spot. Okay, now it says from left to right, compare the digits. So from left to right, here's my left and here's my right. I'm gonna compare the digits. Okay, ready? 0, 0. That doesn't help me. 5, 4. 5 is larger than 4, which means this whole number is larger. So that's the one I'm going to grab. So here, my alligator mouth is going to grab that one, which that's called my greater than symbol. So 0 and 54 hundredths is greater than 0 and 455 thousandths. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, I'm going to first make sure to line up the decimal points. And when you line up your decimal points, everything else should line up. Okay, then I'm gonna add zeros to make a box. This one I don't need to because I could draw a box and there's not gonna be any empty spaces. Next, I'm gonna compare from left to right. So ready? 0, 0, those are the same, that doesn't help me. 3, 3, that's the same, it doesn't help me. 5, 5's the same, it doesn't help me. 8, 4, 8's larger, which means that whole number is larger, which means that's the one my alligator mouth is going to grab, which that's another greater than sign. So 0 and 358 thousandths is greater than 0 and 354 thousandths. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's try that because it's just three quick steps. Let's try some of that together. We are on page 66. And notice this nice place value chart, and we're just gonna go, nope, because we're not going to use it. We don't need it, and we won't get it on the test. Okay, so step 1 says to line up our decimals. So let's come over here and let's line up our decimals. Okay, step 2 says add zeros to create a box. So if I drew a box around here, notice this one's blank, so let's add a 0 there. And then step 3 says compare left to right. So let's start over here, 1, 0. Okay, so since the 1's larger, that whole number's larger, which means my alligator mouth is going to grab that one. So our answer is 1 and 59 hundredths is greater than 6 tenths, or 0 and 6 tenths. Okay, let's look at our next one together. Let's cross this off. And we're going to first line up the decimals. So I have 0.009, and I have 0.16. Okay. And then we need a second step, add a 0 to make that nice box. And then third step, left to right. So ready? 0, 0, that doesn't help us. 0, 1, 1's larger, which means my whole number's larger. So that's the one my alligator mouth is going to grab. So ready? Let's grab that. So our answer is 0 and 9 thousandths is less than 0 and 16 hundredths. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have quite a few pages that I believe your teacher is going to be assigning you. Have a great day.